Welcome to the Dice Gods. My name is Hydra, and today we return to the wonderful world of Eldfall Chronicles from Free Company. It's been a hot minute since we had a look at what was going on with Eldfall Chronicles, because candidly we've been waiting for the Northern Wind dungeon crawler to arrive from those guys. That's dropped. That's out in the wild now. People are getting their copies. Lots of happy, smiling, cheerful people with all these beautiful miniatures. I'm a little bit jealous. Didn't actually pick mine up in the end, so I missed out on that one. And seeing all the beautiful Oni and the goblins around the place is making me green with envy. But hey, let's look forward, let's not look back. With that done, we are now into the next range of reinforcements. And in this video, we're going to talk about the first box, the Queen's Blade reinforcements box for Thenion, which has been announced, and all the details are coming through as we speak, as well as the timeline for the following reinforcements for the big four: Helion, Soga, Sand Kingdoms, and Thenion. So we've got all this good stuff coming up. We've got the timeline for that, and we have got an image of one of the new Soga miniatures as well, which was kindly given to us by the delightful Sebastian, who took some pictures at Essen, in Spale in Essen, a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. Let's start by having a look at the miniatures that are coming in the Queen's Blade reinforcements box. Now, if you're not familiar with Eldfall Chronicles, this is a fantasy skirmish level, small skirmish level, sort of 3, 4, 5 miniatures depending on the faction that you play. Wargame, 34mm from memory. Beautiful, stunning miniatures. What you're looking at here are the renders, but these are actually all made out of Unicool plastic resin, I think is the technical term for it. They are crisp, they are detailed, they have very few mold lines. They're a joy to work with, a joy to put together, incredibly consistent. I've actually owned all of the initial sort of wave of releases, the starter boxes and the initial set of reinforcements boxes for all 4 main factions, and all of the miniatures that came in all of those boxes were stunning. So these guys really know how to make minis, and they are not messing around. So what you see here with the renders is what you're going to get into your sticky little pud should you decide to take this up. Playstyle with Eldfall Chronicles, if you're not familiar with it, it is very much like Infinity. So if you're an Infinity player, this one is definitely something you should check out. Similarly, the free rules, the free army builder, you run a card system for stats and things like that, so that's kind of cool, but it's a D20 system. We've got crits in there, but you've also got magic and all this kind of stuff. It's a very, very, very fun system, and I can't recommend it enough. We're not going to talk about that today, specifically the way the game plays. We're going to focus on what we've got coming up with this box, the Queen's Blade box, which actually in real life looks like this. If you're not familiar with Thenion, so these are the murder elves. I know that's going to be a surprise looking at them as they stand there, but these are effectively murder elves, and they are playstyle the ultimate glass cannon. If they get in your face, they will absolutely hurt you, and then they will probably just disappear before you can strike back, which is bloody inconvenient and decidedly unpleasant. But if you can get the pesky little blighters under your sword, they're in trouble. They don't tend to survive very long when an enemy sort of pins them into a corner, but you've got to get them there first, which is the challenge. This box, this reinforcement box, you will get the Swashbuckler, the Bladebrethren Elite, and the Hired Blade. All come in the box. Knowing these guys, these are going to be sort of €30 or thereabouts, 30, 40 euros. I don't know the full price yet, but they are very much worth it. These are beautiful, beautiful miniatures. If you pick them up, what are you going to get? Well, let's have a look at the stat cards, because that's where the fun happens. We've looked at the beautiful miniatures. They are pretty. There's no two ways about it. What do? Well, the Hired Blade, as ever with this faction, what you're looking at is a real sort of offensive hard hitter. 2 stamina as usual, so you get the 2 activations on this. If you are familiar with Infinity but you've not seen Eldfall before, with Infinity you have the order pool that you can spend as you see fit. With Eldfall you have stamina, and that stamina is the number of activations an individual unit gets in their turn. That's both active and reactive. So in Infinity terms, this guy has 2 orders to spend on himself during the active phase and 2 arrows only in the reactive phase. So you can't just keep spamming your arrows. You have to really consider when and how you're going to react and pick the perfect moment. But 2 is pretty standard. The 6 move is quite quick. It's a little bit quicker than most other sort of enemies that you're going to face, because they're light, because they're rogues, because they're fast. That's their whole shtick. But then you've only got 1 armor and you've only got 1 wound. So if anyone looks at this guy funny, he is going to fall over and catch fire. But you've got to get there first. That's got to happen. Offensive 15, defensive 8. As you'd expect with a lot of these units, they hit harder in offense. If you're on the attack, they're going to do more than if they're defending. Accuracy, we don't really care about. I mean, you can throw, but yeah, you wouldn't really with this guy. You're going to stab people. Intellect, agility 14, so he's dodging really well. His toughness at 10 is not bad, because that's normally augmented. I think we'll probably get to that one in a minute. Skills, dual wield, infiltration 2, stealth 2. With these sneaky elf gits, that's kind of what you're going to be looking at. These can't, with that 1 armor, with that 1 wound, they're not going to withstand an awful lot of people doing unpleasantness to them. So they need to rely on those tricks, and that very much, this guy has it in spades with the infiltration 2, the stealth 2. Assassination 1 is a nice little buff, because it increases his output. Weapon-wise, the short sword and the dagger, fairly standard for these guys. Nothing really massive to report there. When we look at the abilities on here, the Assassination 1 gives him +6 power. So that the damage on the short sword is normally T, which is 10. You get +6 to that, so it's 16. The chances of doinking somebody out of the box with that particular weapon are quite high. The infiltration is really, really nice, because you can deploy anywhere pretty much on the board outside of the opponent's deployment zone. So you can get up in their face. You can do that sneaky first round assassination. That's entirely a legitimate tactic. And the fact you can take 2 of these, just not pleasant at all in any way, shape or form. And it goes in the shrouded state because it's got stealth 2. It goes down as a marker, camo marker for you Infinity fans out there. So it's yeah, all kinds of sneaky. And the fact you can stick these down as a pair and stick them in them, yeah, it's just not nice. It's just not nice. We do love it. That's kind of the point. But again, you look at it funny, it will catch fire and fall over. So then we have the Thenrin Swashbuckler. This one's a little bit tougher. We've still got that 2 activations, the 2 arrows in the top right there. Shows you it's got 2 activations per turn. Little foot, 6 inch. Again, it's quite quick. 3 armor, which is a little hat. So it's a little bit tougher, and it's got 2 wounds as well. So it can take a little bit more violence. For an elf, this one's pretty tough, to be honest with you. The offensive 15 is okay. Defensive 10 is fine. Accuracy 10, don't really care about that one. Agility 13. So dodging is relatively okay. The T of 12 is okay, but we don't have assassination here, so we're going to rely on probably that toughness to do the damage. 12 is not that awesome, but then it's not awful, and we are a little bit tougher, so there is a trade-off to be done. The duelish dash, this is fine. The fencing 2, we give either a -3 mod, or a -1 strike. So when we look at the abilities, STK, which is the number of effectively bursts, the number of hits you do, is based on your stamina. So this beautiful young lady does 2 attacks with her short sword per activation. If anyone's attacking her in response, they get -1 strikes. They lose if they have 2 normally, 2 burst, effectively 2 hits normally, they go down to 1. So this is not nice. Not nice at all. But she's a little bit... I love the miniature, and I love the style and the idea of this guy, but I think this, in a force of glass cannons that want to get in, get out, and all that kind of stuff, I'm not sure that this one, as she is out of the box, is necessarily as much of an obvious fit as the other ones. That's just a personal view. I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, tell me why in the comments. I'd be intrigued to hear. Next up, we have the Bladebrethren Elite, and this one has stratagem. So this is a leader for your crew, which when you look at the volume of traits, skills, combat arts, and special stuff that this particular delightful young lady has, yeah, it's a boss. It clearly is. Yeah. 2 stamina, so 2 activations, 6 move, 3 armor, 2 wounds, which is cool. Offensive 16, so she really is not particularly pleasant to face in combat. Defensive 13 is also good. That means that in reactions she is pretty potent. Agility 14, so she can dodge well. The T of 12 means she hits bloody hard. Morale of 12 is also good. So, yeah, we've got a load of stuff on here. We have got a load of stuff. The special, when declaring a melee attack as a reaction, you may perform a morale roll. On a success, regain the action points spent on this reaction. That is incredibly potent. That is incredibly potent. So on a 12 or less, we said before, the stamina means that you're limited to 2 reactions per turn, per enemy turn. But with this particular bundle of joy and happiness, there is a 60% chance that when she spends that action point, she's going to get it back. So she can just keep reacting to enemies attacking her. That's incredibly strong. That is incredibly potent. Weapons-wise, mastercrafted swords, 1 per activation or reaction, the user may reroll 1 attack roll. That is that. It's all gone wrong. Oh dear God, this is not going well. Please help me. Oh, okay, I will. I'll help myself. I'll just reroll. Very, very nice. I have a parry dagger. The target's melee attacks suffer a -2 mod. When used against a model in crouch state, gain +1 strike. So if you've got an enemy that is particularly, if they're potent in close combat or you just want to screw with them, you can give them that -2 mod. That's entirely a valid option. And let's look at all of these abilities. That fencing 3, you can give the -3, the -1 strike, or you can gain +1 strike. Now, the gaining +1 strike is really, really potent on that fencing 2. Your mastercrafted sword, the strike is STA, so it's your stamina, so it's 2. But with that fencing 3 ability, it becomes 3. So she's chucking out a lot of attacks in active phase. When she's actively in combat, she's doing a lot of work. Let's be honest. She also then has the stratagems that you'll see here. So stratagems are an ability that you trigger at the start of your turn, and then they last until your next turn. So we can either dishearten, so target 1 enemy in line of sight. It must perform a halved morale roll. On a failure, it loses an AP each turn until your next strategic phase. So you can just make people lose action points. As I say, most troopers at the moment will have, unless they're Oni, they'll have 2 action points. So losing 50% of your options. This is not friendly, especially if you get it off on the leader who's handing out stratagems. If you're really slowing down, especially for things like Helion need their leaders to be chucking out buffs and stuff like that. If you cut down the number of things that buffing unit can do in a turn, that's going to be a real problem. That's going to be a real problem indeed. So guerrilla tactics, you can use that one as well. So backstab gives you buffs when you're hitting people in the back, which is nice. Or hit and retreat, so the good old-fashioned jump out, stab them in the face, and then disappear. Those sneaky, sneaky elves. So being able to give that to everybody with the rogue or assassin skill is very, very nice. A very nice buff to them. Or vicious opportunism. Attacks made by friendly models against crouched targets may re-roll 1 attack roll and gain +6 power and cleave. Right, so it is possible to knock enemy troopers over, targets over. If they are knocked over, they become crouched, and at that point, basically, you can just finish them off. That's what this says, essentially. This becomes all of your friendly units. If you are of a mind to knock enemy troopers over, there are benefits to doing that. This buff, if you find yourself in a position where you can knock down a lot of enemy troopers, this is going to make all the difference. This is going to do some serious work, and the enemy will not be happy. So all in all, I think these guys do very much continue in the same theme as Thenion. I think that they've got the same smell, but this Bladebrethren Elite, she's just filth. That ability to regain an action point in reaction is so potent, and she's got a lot of output. I mean, yeah, it's only toughness on the power, so it's sort of damage 12, power 12 on that Mastercrafted sword, but you've got 3 hits with that, and you've got a reroll built into it as well. Yeah, she's going to break hearts and faces, and that's very, very cool. Yeah. My wife plays Thenion. Maybe an error in judgment on my part, but anyway. So that is them. That is the Queen's. What I called it? Queen's Blade. I was going to call them the Queen's Guard, but that's the Queen's Blade. This is what we've got coming up. These drop the end of November, so look for more information on these guys coming soon. But that's very, very funky and well worth your time. So what else have we got coming up? Well, the core faction reinforcements release schedule. November 2025, we have the Queen's Blade, Thenion. In January, we have a reinforcements box for Soga. So I'm going to start that year with nice new shiny Soga. Soga is my main, so that is very good news from my perspective. The other 2 of Helion and Sand Kingdoms, they will be March, May, and it's, I think, from what we've been told, that it's looking Helion in March, but don't quote me on that one. That's not been 100% confirmed, so we shall see. But that is the release. We're going to get these nice 3 miniature boxes updated for everybody. The points costs that the game is aimed to be played at are also being lifted, or have been lifted. I can't remember, it's either coming or it has arrived. So we'll be looking at getting more stuff on the board. So this is also good because it's going to give us more options for leaders, more strategic options, and more units that you can just play with and try. So overall, I think it's great that we're getting these reinforcements, and it's going to be really interesting to see what they bring. Speaking of, this is one of the ones that we know is coming for Empire of Soga in January. This is the Great Guard. We've seen this render. This render's been around for quite a while. However, at Spale in Essen, big trade show that happened a couple of weeks back, a week or so back, they had the miniatures painted up on site, and a fantastic young man by the name of Sebastian took some photographs of them outside of cases. There's a few shots of Beaver put up of them in cases, but he actually had the shots outside of the cases. We were given permission to share one of them, and this guy I think is brilliant. I think just the pose, the drama, the styling of it is fantastic. Very Soga. Clearly, it's just stunning because it's just us. That's just how we are. But I love the drama of this particular miniature, so I had to feature that one. So without further ado, the Great Guard in all his glory. The detail and quality of this brought to life through the Unicorn is just stunning. I just love it. I love the quality of these miniatures. They look beautiful. They are beautiful. And the fact that they come out like this, the fact that this is pretty much how they come out of the box, is just, it's a lazy hobbyist dream, and it makes me want to be a better painter. So that's always a good feeling, to look at something and think, I need to be good enough to paint this. I'm sort of dreading and looking forward to getting this particular young guy in my hands, and that should be, as we say, that'll be end of January next year. So a couple of months away at this point. You'll be able to pick this up in a box of 3 with some other stuff that we've also seen is also beautiful. But yeah, there you go. What do you think of this? What do you think of the style of Soga? Is this sort of Asian persuasion the thing you go for, or are you more a murder elf type thing? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you as ever to the wonderful members, Patreons, who make this happen. Chris Sexton, Mr. Cheshire, you rock my socks, as do you, Jim Callahan, Michael Rowan, Mike Pierce, and Sean Colburn. Thank you all for being the top tier supporters, long-term supporters actually. Some of you like a year or so. It's quite insane, but I really do appreciate it. And actually in the past few days, we've ticked over 100 members and Patreons in total, which is absolutely mind-blowing, and I can't thank you all enough. It's what enables me to make these videos. It's what enables me to spend more time getting out there, doing more systems. It's why we're going to start talking about more Eldfall. We're going to start talking about more bolt action, all that kind of stuff on the channel, because this lets me take time away from my day job to spend. So if you can support the channel, I really would appreciate it. It's less than a cup of coffee a month, and it helps me do more wargaming stuff. So if you want more wargaming stuff, that's how you get it. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you can't support the channel financially, totally get that. Not a problem at all. Do please like, share, and subscribe, however, because it gets the good word of the Dice Gods out into the world, and that is clearly a good thing. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Look forward to more Eldfall coming soon. Take care, and goodbye.